Before I get into today's video, I just wanted to mention that our G Fuel code has a good percentage off right now. So what I want you guys to do, we're going to click over on shop now. Let's look at some tubs really quick. One of my favorite flavors of all time is Hype Sauce. Click on Hype Sauce. It's a raspberry lemonade. You guys are going to love it. Add to cart really quick. Go to your cart. We're going to click over to checkout. We're going to go over to our discount code. Type in cheesy for me. Apply that. And take a look at our percent off. You get 30% off right now. So our order went from $107 to $75. So make sure you guys use code cheesy. It helps me out, but also it gets you guys a nice little benefit right there. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. You guys, MLB The Show 22 is finally here. We've waited almost a year for this game. So excited to finally be playing this. And you guys know we need to make a new hitting tips video for you guys. So we're going to go over a bunch of stuff in this video for you guys. We're going to talk about our different control freaks we use, the different controllers we use, the monitor we use, the different approach when we go into custom practice. We're going to go into there, show you guys exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about anchoring the PCI. There's going to be a ton of stuff in this video. So make sure you guys smash that like button for me. That shows that you guys are enjoying it and that it helped you guys out. Comment down below if this helped you guys out. Hopefully it does. And make sure you guys are subscribing as well. We're going to have a ton of videos out for you guys on MLB Show 22. We're going to try to have 6 videos out in the first 24 hours, so you guys definitely don't want to miss that. But let's first talk about our controller and which controllers we want to use while we're playing MLB The Show 22. So for the console I primarily use, we have the PS5 controller now. Again, if you guys saw one of my last videos, I talked about the PS5 controller and how it's not the greatest controller, but unfortunately there is no great controller out for the PS5, no aftermarket controller. They do have a scuff, but I don't think that really would help anybody out. They do have an update coming out on the PS5 controller pretty soon here for VRR, which should really make the latency not that big of an issue anymore. So as of right now, we're going to use the PS5 controller on the PS5. Now for the Xbox, we have the PowerA controller. And we have the Series Elite 2 controller as well. So for the Series Elite 2 controller, this to me, if this works properly, is the best controller you can use, hands down, in front of anything that you guys can do on any console. This controller paired with the Xbox Series X, I think, is the best competitive advantage. At least it has been in the past. We'll see what it'll be like on MLB Show 22. This thing has great latency, no problems at all. We have the back paddles back there, which I have seen people use it as a hitting button. Now I have not tried that yet, but they said that they really like it. So the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller will be really nice. But the controller I'm going to recommend most to you guys is the PowerA controller. Now this PowerA controller is like pretty cheaply made. It's only $30, but the input on this thing might be the best. It's just like the Elite Series 2 controller. This thing is awesome. Like I said, it's $30. It's a must-have for the Xbox. It will heighten your game. It is awesome. The regular Xbox controller did not work very well in 21. We'll see how it works in 22. We don't know yet, but again, I would highly recommend using the PowerA controller for the Xbox. And then lastly, for the Nintendo Switch, we have another PowerA controller. Now, there is a wireless one for the PowerA as well. I just picked up this one. This one was like 19 bucks at Best Buy, so a super easy buy. You plug it in. It's got, the only thing about the Nintendo that's a little bit weird is the B button is like the main button. As you guys know, with the PlayStation 5, it's an X, and with the Xbox, it's an A. So having the B button there is just super weird. But again, this is a controller you want to use for the Nintendo Switch. So the next thing I want to talk about are actually control freaks. So if you guys saw this on my PS5 controller, you guys see right there. These are the CQC control freaks. You guys see it, just a mid-tier control freak. So control freaks is something that a lot of the top players use, and I cannot highly recommend them enough. I have nothing with them. I don't have a code. I'm not a partner or anything with them. I just love using their products, and there are a ton of different products to use. The first one I'm talking about, like I said, is the CQC. Now, this is my favorite one. I just love that it's indented. It's got some little grips for you guys there too. If I can get that actually in camera, there you go, and kind of see it right there. And it's a mid-tier one. I really highly recommend the mid-tier control freaks. I think they help out the best. That's the CQC. The next mid that we're going to talk about is the Galaxy. Right there. Again, another little thumb, you know, you can put your thumb in there. It fits pretty good. Another really good mid-tier. But also the Galaxy comes in a high tier. So, you guys see this one right here. See how it's a little bit more up compared to this one? Oh. Okay, you guys see that how it's a little bit more up compared to this one. Now, there are people that like using the high-rise one. So for that, we have the Galaxy. We have this Inferno one as well, which is another favorite that a lot of people like to use. And then I have this Modern Warfare one from a little bit ago. I know there are some people out there that like to use the Modern Warfare one. Again, I am not a huge fan of these high tier. I'm not a huge fan of it. To me, it doesn't feel that great personally. I love these mid-tier ones. I love these mid-tier ones. I think that they just like feel really good. They don't take your thumb too far off of the controller either, which I really like, and I just think they're the best. So if you guys can, I highly recommend buying a pair. They're like $15. They're not expensive at all, and they will help you out. So last, before we actually get into the game and actually start playing it, I want to talk about monitors. So monitors are a huge benefit. Every competitive player I know uses a monitor, and there are a couple things you need to know about them. For one, we always want to get a 1 millisecond response time monitor. That means that when you are actually clicking the button, there's only 1 millisecond in between the time that you click it and the game actually registers it. So that's a huge plus. You definitely want to have that. On TVs, it can be pretty bad. Now, I know TVs nowadays are actually coming around to have some better response times, but again, the 1 millisecond response time is a huge thing. And the last thing I want to talk about monitors is the refresh rate. So we do know as of right now, the MLB The Show 22 is capped out at 60 hertz. So that means any monitor above that should really technically not have an advantage. But again, I really strongly recommend trying to go above that because it really is a benefit, and in the future it could go above that. And if you play different games, a lot of games play above 120 hertz as well, which obviously is what we're hoping for MLB The Show 23 in the future. So just having that quick refresh rate will help out a ton as well. Now let's actually go into the game and talk about our settings. Okay, so here we are at the main screen. We're actually going to scroll up to the top where it says settings. We're gonna go right there, click settings, and we're gonna go into gameplay. Now, this video only talks about hitting. I will have a full pitching test video for you guys as well, but this one, again, we're just gonna be talking about hitting. I'm gonna go ahead and walk through all these things. I think they are very important, and it is the thing that I think if you guys want to take it to the next level, that you guys need to look at these settings, and it'll help you out a ton. So the first thing we're looking at is the hitting difficulty. Now, for me, when I'm practicing, I like to do it on Legend. I highly recommend you try it on the hardest. That way you can start to get better. But again, there are some people that are just starting to play this game. So starting on All-Star, I think, is a really good start there too. BR and events are usually on All-Star. Now we get to ranked seasons. It goes from Veteran to All-Star to Hall of Fame to Legend. And it gets a lot tougher when you get those higher difficulties, but for the sake of this video, we're going to start out at Legend. Now, hitting view is definitely a thing that different people like to use. I think for the competitive community, a lot of them like to use Strike Zone. So when we actually get into it, I'll show you guys a little bit closer, but the Strike Zone literally is a camera of just a Strike Zone. It's a little bit outside of it, so it's not just like all the way zoomed in. But to me, it helps you read the pitches. I think it's just the best one for you guys to use. I highly recommend using it to start off with and just kind of play with it. If you don't like it, go to the different ones. But Strike Zone 2 and Strike Zone 3, I think, are the ones that are most used in the community. Now, this one isn't really a huge one, but in play view offense, I usually have it high. So if you have it at high, you can kind of see the ball's trajectory. It's kind of hard to explain without actually getting into the game, but you can kind of see if you're actually in a gap, you know, turn 2, get a double, maybe even get a triple. I like to play it at high, but again, you can do whatever you want to on that one. Okay, this might be the biggest part right here is your hitting interface. So we have zone, directional, and we have timing. Zone is what you want to do. Zone is what you're going to be using to move around the PCI. Click X, and that way you're going to hit. Directional, you actually aim, and it just, you don't really have a lot of say in where it's going to happen. There's a lot of RNG that goes within directional, and then timing's kind of the same thing. That's just a lot tough. It's making it a lot tougher for you guys. We're going to stay on zone. The input type will be buttons. We do not use analog. Again, that just adds another metric that we don't really want to be using. Skip over the analog flip because it doesn't really matter. And then new this year is the PCI anchor. Now, in the tech test, I really didn't use it. I really think this is something for new players. So say you're getting spammed inside the fastball and you just cannot catch up to it. You can actually anchor your PCI up there to stay up there, and that way you can react to it a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying you can't use it if you've already been playing this game, but for me, I'll probably stray away from it in the beginning because, again, I just don't think I really need to use it right now. But we will go over it in the actual gameplay. Again, the PCI anchor dot is just the same thing that's attached to that, so we definitely want to have that on too. Now, this is probably the second most important thing within hitting, the PCI, or the plate coverage indicator. This is a thing, if you guys ever watch anybody play MLB Show, that they're moving around with their analog stick. This is the thing that shows up actually on the screen that you guys are moving around and trying to, you know, hit the ball right on that dot when you guys are moving the PCI around. So we definitely want to have that on. Make sure you guys have it on and practice. In the beginning, it will be tough. I promise you guys, it's not easy, but once you get the hang of it, it'll take your game to the next level. I promise that. It is very, very good. Something that everybody uses that actually is competitive at this game. Now, the last little part right here, the last 6 things that we're going to talk about are all things that you guys just have to figure out on your own. Now, when I say that, I'm going to go over all these things, but it's something you have to get comfortable with. There's a bunch of different things to do on this, but I'm going to talk about what I do. Again, this is just something that I do. Everybody does something different for this. You have to find the comfortability with it, and we will talk about it right here. So we have the PCI center. So there are different centers of the PCI. So right here we have altitude. You can do it with that one if you want to. I highly recommend actually have it on there, but it's up to you guys again. You have diamonds, which are like these little diamonds you're gonna have. You have circles, which are gonna be the little circles. And then altitude is one that I think is the biggest one all around. So I think it makes it easier to track it. So I like to use the altitude for the PCI center. Now, the inner is something I like to use too, but actually towards the end of MLB Show 21, I kind of stopped using it. But again, it's just something that you have the little dots and then you have like a little sphere outside of it. And this is what the inner PCI is. So you have basic, wedge, starfighter, fishbowl. Again, you can do whatever you want to. For the sake of the video, I'm not going to use it, but again, just choose what you want. Now for the PCI outer, so we talk about the little circles in the middle, we talk about the sphere outside of that, and then you have another sphere that could be right outside of that as well. This is something they implemented, I think, last year or the year before that. Again, it's going to be the same thing as basic, outline, reverb, starfighter. Again, I don't use any of these. I don't like using them. I think they're just way too big. We want to try to aim small, and I think using the PCI outer just makes it way too big. There's too much going on the screen, and I don't really like that. Now, the PCI color is another thing that you guys just have to choose what you want. Yellow is the default. I was actually using, I think, violet for the most of the year, so I'm gonna actually change it to violet right there. But there's so many different colors. Again, just find one that you really like. Sometimes just changing up here too helps out as well. But again, I'm gonna go with violet right here. And then the PCI transparency shows how transparent it'll actually be on the screen. So I put it at 100% because I like seeing the PCI personally. You can do it however you want to. You can notch it down if you want to. You can do whatever you want to. It's up to you. I like to do 100%. And then lastly, the PCI fade out. I don't use this, but it's something you can use where, say we're talking about those spheres again, you can have it just show right before the pitch and then it just fades away. So to me, I just don't like using it. I don't think it really helps out that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and use none for it. So now that we have all of our settings, let's actually go into custom practice and let's actually start taking some pitches here. So if you guys want to go into custom practice, go down. Here it is all the way at the bottom. It's custom practice. So for this video, we're actually going to try to use as many legends as we can, or legend teams. We're going to go with the long ball beast because honestly, it has Randy Johnson on it, and you guys can see Randy Johnson a ton. So I want to start out with him just to show you guys what he's going to be like. But again, we do want to look at some guys that have sinkers and cutters because that is the meta and it always has been in MLB Show. So we will try to get some of those guys as well, but we're going to use them as hitters as well. So for the sake of the video, I actually want to go to Ship It. Ship It, as you guys have known, has been this stadium that people have always used because of the elevation there. It was based geographically in Colorado. Now this year they moved it, so we're gonna see how it plays, but let's go ahead and use Ship It just for the purpose of this video. Okay, so here you guys see we have the hand cam on here as well. So what we're gonna do first off, we're gonna go practice type. We're gonna go to batting. Now you can choose whatever batter you want to. For the sake of the video, we're gonna use Chipper Jones. I like Chipper Jones. I always love using him. And we're gonna go against Randy Johnson. Again, this is someone you're gonna face a ton, so I want to use Randy Johnson. You have guys like Greg Maddux, Pedro Martinez, Tom Glavine. Use these guys. Again, there's a new legend right there, is Mike Messina. Use these guys as you can because these guys are gonna be what you're gonna see a ton in the game. So, you know, just try to use them as much as you can, whoever you want to. I'm gonna go against Randy Johnson here. So pitch requests were actually added onto the game last year. Now this means that you can choose whatever pitch you actually want to use. So right now we have fastball, slider, and splitter. We're going to go ahead and leave those on for right now, but we will go to each one and kind of talk about that. And then again, pitch location requests were another added thing to MLB The Show 21. This just means that, you know, if you want to work on high zone pitches, you can do that. If you want to work on inside pitches, you can do that. So this is where they'll actually throw the ball. The computer will know where to throw it. So they'll actually throw it right to those positions for you guys. But for the beginning of the video, what we're going to do, this is the only thing we're going to do in the beginning of the video. It might not seem like a lot, but we're just going to actually track pitches. This way we're going to see pitches coming in, move the P side towards it, just see what it's like, just kind of get used to it. And then before we actually get into tracking the pitches, again, this is on legend difficulty. You can start wherever you want to, but the PCI, I just want to show you kind of the size of the PCI. Let's see what it is on legend really quick. So you guys see it. It is freaking tiny. And if we actually go back to it, we can go look at the All-Star on All-Star. And you guys see it just kind of makes it a little bit bigger right here. So kind of up to you guys. Again, choose where you want to. For the sake of the video, we're going to do it on legend. Okay, so Randy Johnson throws pretty quick right here. So what we're trying to do here, you kind of are just looking at the pitch and you're trying to track it in. So I don't want you to click X at all or anything. We're just trying to track in the pitch to see, you know, how it looks, how it's coming in here. That way we can start timing up where we want the PCI exactly. So thankfully, Randy Johnson actually throws pretty quick, so we can get through this pretty quick right here. But again, we just want to try to take, you know, 5 or 6 pitches right here, start with it, and then boom, kind of track it with that. I know there's a lot of people that always ask me, why do I move my PCI like this around before I hit? For me, it's just a comfortability thing. It makes it so that my thumbs are ready to go, just kind of what I do. And I sit right there and then I react to it. Another thing I want to talk about here too is I usually sit like middle in and I react to it from there. Whatever you guys want to do, you guys can do however you want to. Again, we can also add in the PCI anchor. So now we're anchoring it up at the top of the zone right here. So again, if you guys are struggling with a certain pitch, boom, look at it. It just stays right there, and then you guys can react to it from there. Now, for me personally, I'm not going to use it right now, but that's one thing you guys can look into. Okay, so now that we've taken some pitches, let's go ahead and get our hands ready to actually swing. So we'll take our first swing here. Again, this is on Legends, so y'all just bear with me here. But boom, right there. It's an early cut on that splitter. But again, one thing too within this, you guys can actually press R3 and hurry up through the pitches as well. A little bit late on that fastball right there. But again, this is just something, you know, we're trying to get used to, track the pitch and react to it, okay? But now we're adding in the X. So there's 3 different inputs while you're trying to hit. You have square, X, or O, and then just whatever those are on each of the different controllers. So one thing we really want to try to stay away from is pressing square. Square is our power swing. So let me show you guys really quick. Square makes it so that your PCI actually gets a little bit smaller, and then when you swing at it, you have a smaller plate coverage to actually cover for the ball. Now, if you are an elite at, you know, using the PCI, did you see how small that PCI is right there? If you're elite at the PCI, you can try to use square. Again, I never ever use it. You don't have to use it ever. I think it's just kind of there just to for show if you guys want to. Maybe lower difficulties against a computer you can, but for me, I'm just not even going to touch it. It's just not worth it to me. The other one is contact swing. So let's see if I can touch one right here. I'm going to throw a strike. But contact swing is a little bit bigger, the PCI coverage indicator, but it doesn't go as far. So keep that in mind as well as you guys are trying to go through this. You know, if it's not going to go as far, you can, you know, look how much bigger it is right there. You kind of see it's a little bit bigger, but you won't have as much power. So that's something you got to keep, you know, in the back of your mind. There was a glitch in MLB Show 21 at the beginning where you could do this and you wouldn't get anything, no negatives to it. But again, they patched that, which again, it should be patched this year too. So again, maybe if you're down 0-2, 1-2, you're in a 2-strike count, use contact swing. You know, you can if you want to. I usually don't, but it's a way to fight off pitches, you know, foul pitches off and everything. So keep that in mind. But for our bread and butter, we're going to go ahead and just use X. X to me is the best thing and makes it easy for you guys to hit. And it's just overall, it's a combination of square and O, which is power and contact. Let's see if I can get a ball here. There's one right there. A little bit off the PCI, but again, you can press R3 and it just quickly goes right through right there. So there you guys go. I mean, that's just kind of the simple concept behind each swing type for you guys. I, again, highly recommend using X. I think it helps you guys out a ton. But yeah, so that is what I'm going to be using. And again, I highly recommend you guys use that. So we're going to go with each of our swing types right there. Again, this is on Legend, so it's going to be a little bit rough. Knowing that we have all these different pitches from Randy Johnson, again, like we said, we can go actually into here and change which pitches we want to see. So say you're just beginning, you just want to get pitches right down the middle. Fastballs right down the middle for you. Let's go ahead and set that up right here. So each time, this should be a fastball right to the middle from Randy Johnson. Boom, look at that. Right down the middle. You're hitting home runs already. It's that simple. But again, we're just using fastballs down the middle, and we're trying to work on this. You know, you could, if this is your first time playing the game, then that's your first time playing the game and you want to get better. We can start out with that and kind of work our way up from it. So there's a decent one right there. A little bit late on that, but again, we're just working through each of our different pitch types. So say that you're struggling here with the up high fastball, okay? Up high fastball is right there. Let's go ahead and add it. Now, every single time it should be an up high fastball. You guys see it, and then you just react to it right there. Again, this is on Legend, so this is the toughest one to do it on, but it's the greatest way to practice, man. If you guys want to get better at this game, I promise you guys, it is torture playing on Legend. But once you get it down, once you get these things down in custom batting practice, I promise you guys will be out of there in no time. It's just an easy thing. But those will be our up high fastballs right here that we're hitting. Look at that. Chipper Jones smashing that one to left center. Beautiful. Okay, so now you say, okay, we're good with the up high fastball. Now let's say you struggle with pitches below zone. Let's go with sliders. Now, unfortunately, I don't think there's a way you can actually make it go outside the zone on when you're doing these different pitch location requests, which I thought maybe they'd add this year, but as of right now, you can't do that. So say we're struggling with our sliders down low, and it's going to go to each quadrant. We'll just react to it from right there. Just simple, easy. We're sitting middle in, and boom, reacting to it. Now, a little bit late on that one, but again, we're just sitting here waiting on our pitch. A little bit early on that one. Looks like it might have got down there, but again, just react to the pitch. We're trying to make this simple. We're trying to simplify hitting. Hitting is not an easy thing, so we're trying to make it as simple as possible for you guys. Now, again, when we're on Legend, it is not the easiest just to react to pitches, you know. They're coming in hot. It's not an easy thing. Look at that right there. It's not an easy thing to do. Reacting to pitches on Legend, there are certain people that can do it, but a lot of the time you actually have to pick up on your opponent's tendencies. So on the computer, we really can't, you know, tell on this, but once you're playing somebody live, you can definitely go in and be like, oh, he's always throwing this fastball to this person on the first pitch. It's just something in the back of your head. You have to get used to pitch recognition, which is kind of the next topic I want to talk about. Pitch recognition is not an easy thing to do. It's something that you kind of pick up over time after playing the game for a while. But once you actually start noticing how your opponent pitches, your life is in a different sense. It just changes the way you play the game. And again, what you're trying to do, there's a perfect right there. Freaking love that. So what you're trying to do is just pick up on their tendencies. So again, like I said, there are a lot of times everybody goes through different pitch sequencing. That's something that a lot of people do. I personally do it a lot too. It's just something that in the back of your head that you don't even know you're doing, but you always do. So one thing I got into a really bad habit of is starting out lefties with an up high sinker and away sinker last year. Again, up high sinkers are going to be a little bit more nerfed this year, so probably won't be the same thing, but that's something I try to do. So we want to make sure that we're getting away from that. Maybe start with an inside cutter next time. Maybe start with an outside changeup. Now, your opponent probably does the same thing. They're going to get used to, hey, Juan Soto's up. I'm going to throw an outside changeup first pitch. You just got to get used to picking up on that kind of stuff. In the long run, it'll really help you guys out. It's tough in the beginning, but I promise you guys it'll help out in the long run. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to switch up here. I want to try to get somebody with the sinker. So Pedro's going to be our first guy. And I would be remiss if I didn't use Joe Mauer. We're going to do all inside sinkers. Now, inside sinkers and inside cutters are probably the toughest pitch to hit in MLB Show. We will see what it will be like this year. Again, this is kind of the meta in past years. They nerfed the up high sinkers, so we'll see how that goes. But again, sinkers are kind of the meta, and people throw them all the time in online play. So we are first batting with Joe Mauer. I haven't done this in a very, very long time. But you guys see the inside sinker is coming in here. Now, again, we're going to be sitting middle in, react to it, and kind of go from there. Again, sitting middle in, react to it, and kind of go from there. I'm trying to use the Pedro throw is quite a bit slower than Randy. So we got to get a little bit used to it because I'm very early on all this stuff. I'm never early on Legend like this. There's one kind of decent one right there. But again, inside sinkers are going to get spammed too. So we want to try to make sure that we're doing a good job of getting down to each of those corners because we want to make sure we're getting those hits because you will see them a ton in online play. I promise you that. It happens way too much. Almost the most annoying pitch probably in MLB Show is the inside sinker. So again, we're just trying to get to those, trying to do what we can right here. Look at that. Joe Mauer all over these sinkers now. Again, you're going to see them a lot in MLB Show. But as long as you guys can fight off and you guys can actually show your opponent you can hit them, then, man, you'll be golden. People will stop throwing them to you, and they'll start throwing different pitches that you're going to be waiting on and kind of going from there. Now, next, I just want to show somebody with a cutter. Again, this is going to be Mariano Rivera. We're going to go with the inside zone pitches right here. Just to kind of show you guys what it's like with the cutter coming in. Now, again, these are going to come in very slow compared to sinkers. wait on it and kind of do the thing from there. I do think that cutters will be the meta in MLB Show 21. As of right now, I do think that cutters are going to be the meta in MLB Show, because when you're pitching with them, your par is not getting any bigger. Now, when you're throwing sinkers, your par is going to start to get bigger when you go up in the zone, but cutters will stay the same. So that's something that I think you guys will see a ton of cutters this year, and you guys better be ready for them, because they're going to come inside just like that. And then if we actually switch it over really quick, let's go over to Tom Glavine. Just have a lefty. We'll go outside with, because lefty outside is very tough to do. So we have the outside cutter with Tom Glavine. And now obviously I know that it's coming, but again, outside cutters to lefties and inside singers or righties are very, very tough in this game, especially on the higher difficulties, as you guys can tell when I'm hitting right here. So we want to make sure we work on that a little bit. Got to make sure we get used to it, because we're going to see them getting spammed a ton in ranked seasons. Ranked seasons, you'll see it a ton. So make sure we're sitting there, getting ready for it, and then just react to it like that. Boom, a perfect with Joe Mauer. I like to sit middle in and then react to it, right? So again, that's just another thing. A cutter is going to be really good to use, and we're going to see him a ton this year. Okay, the last pitch I want to talk about is the circle change, because I think the circle change is going to be another thing we're going to see a ton this year. They gave everybody a circle changes. Circle changes were really good last year, but in the tech test, I noticed that almost everybody had a circle change. So we got to make sure we get used to this one as well. This one is going to come in very slow. It's better than change up in my opinion, and we just got to make sure we wait back on it. So if we're sitting here waiting on those Greg Maddux change up, react to it, and then boom, kind of go from there. So again, another thing, make sure you guys are seeing changes, because you guys will see them a ton this year, especially circle changes, because these might be the meta as well. Them and cutters, I think, are going to be used a lot in ranked seasons and in online play. So make sure you guys are getting used to the circle change too. So now we're going to go ahead and try to put all this together. Now I'm facing Dontrelle Willis for the first time. I've never seen this card, so we'll see how he is. He does have a nice little cutter right there, but again, we're just sitting here trying to track the ball and trying to go from there. Maybe a home run, might be a little bit short, but again, we're trying to put it all together, middle end, and kind of react to that too. So there's a nice little change from Dontrelle that we're going to be going against here. Going to see him a lot in the beginning. He's going to be our World Series reward. So again, another card you guys want to go into custom batting practice in and kind of get used to what his, delivery is going to be. He's got that weird funky delivery that, might not be the easiest to pick up. Like right there, I'm late on a fastball. There's a nice little swing right there with the cutter. But again, we're just trying to sit middle in and reacting to wherever we can go. So look at that. Chipper Jones. Can we end it on a home run? I think it's going to be just short. I just want to try to get a home run. There we go. Chipper Jones with the home run right there. So there you guys have it. Those are my hitting tips for you guys. Now, I know it is a longer video, but I'm trying to show you guys every single thing that we can do within MLB Show 22. It's a new year. There's some different things that we're going to see. But again, this is just a full-blown hitting tips video for you guys. So if you guys did enjoy it, please, again, hit that like button for me. Make sure you guys subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.